Good afternoon, everyone. Allison Scoberg here, Consolidated Planning Group. We are excited to be here today with Nitra Davis-Moore and Sandra Kendall with the Workforce Commission. And today what we're going to be talking about is understanding Title II disability benefits and work. So thank you for taking the time to join us. What I want to do a little housekeeping. We're going to do things a little bit differently. So if you've joined our webinars in the past, today, because anytime we're talking about anything related to the Social Security Administration, it's deep and wide. It's a topic that's deep and wide, lots of rabbit holes that are available. We're going from 12 to 1 today. So if you're planning your lunch hour or whatever, we are going from 12 to 1. Today's webinar is being recorded, and after our presentation today, either later this afternoon or tomorrow, you're going to get a copy of the slides and also a link to the recording. So typically, what we do is we have really more of an interactive session. So although we can't see you or hear you, you are in webinar mode. So in case anybody's wondering, we cannot see you or hear you. We do know you're there, and we do invite you to put your questions in the chat box today. Typically, we read out questions. We've got enough content today that we want to get through the slides. So while one person is presenting, the other person will be answering questions in the chat box. We ask that you refrain from putting any personal information, personal situations that you may have, like keep it generalized. We are happy to answer personalized questions offline or through email, or our contact information is going to be in today's slides. So that's kind of a little variance from the way we normally do it, but we want to get through the content. So for those of you that are joining for the first time, Consolidated Planning Group, we are a holistic special needs financial planning firm. We are a consulting and advisory firm. We have over 30 years experience. We're nationally certified as Social Security advisors, also members of the Special Needs Planning Academy. We help families just like you plan for the future. What happens to your loved one with a disability when you're gone, or when you're still here and you no longer have the ability to care for your loved one that has special care needs. We put lifetime care plans in place. We do transition planning. We do a lot of advocacy, a lot of education as it relates to SSI and Medicaid and various programs that your loved one might be eligible for. We spend a lot of time making sure that people have money in the right buckets, so that way it preserves their eligibility for state and federally funded programs that have means-based tests, which they'll talk about. Fewer than 0.1% of all financial advisors in the U.S. focus on special needs planning. And I always just say, when it comes to this, your situation is specialized. It's really important that you work with a specialist when it comes to planning for your loved one. So having said that, I would like to turn things over to Nitra and Sarah and let them get started right away. And like I said, don't forget, go ahead and put your questions in the chat box today. We're going to get to just as many of those as we can, but through the chat box, okay? And also, if you put the question to everyone can see the answer, and the question and the answer. If you just put your question to the host, only the host can see the question, and they would respond directly back to you, not to the whole group. So thanks so much. Over to you, Nitra.
All right, thanks, Allison. Appreciate it. So today's, we're going to discuss all the different Social Security programs that are under the Title II side of the fence. Let's see if it will let me control that slide to move forward. There we go. So there are 3 different types of disability programs that are under the Social Security Administration. The one that we're going to focus on today are the Title II programs. There are some folks who receive both title programs, which is Title II and SSI. SSI falls under Title 16. And then there's folks that just receive SSI. So again, today we're going to focus on the Title II programs. It's lagging a little bit. Sorry, guys. So the amount of a Title II cash benefit is not usually high enough for somebody to be able to pay their bills. Even on that Title II side, if they're receiving retirement. The average Title II cash benefit that anyone is receiving now in 2023 is $1,438. And when we think about that amount, that does not pay for a lot. For some of us, that's even the rent amount. So it may not even cover all the other bills that one may have. So that would be the average amount for this year. So just think in previous years, it was actually less than that. As we move forward, hopefully we see the trend of getting higher and higher. But either way, it's not a lot to cover everything. Title II benefit programs, they're insurance programs, okay? And it's for those who are over 18, who work and who have paid into the system and have taxes coming out to pour into this pool of money. Now, in order to draw a Title II cash benefit, either you've been working to pay into the system to be able to draw a cash benefit out, or you're related to someone who has worked and paid into the system to draw a cash benefit out. When someone over 18 works and earns enough credits, has a recent duration of work history. So as they're working and earning, they're building work credits and they're gaining work history. And they're unable to continue to earn at a substantial gainful activity level, or they may be related to a person who has paid into their system to draw those benefits. They go through the eligibility process, get their application in. If they're determined eligible, that's when you'll see these three benefit programs on the Title II side come into play. So all three Title II disability programs require that a person goes through what's known as the 5-step sequential evaluation. All over 18 applications that go into the Social Security Administration go through this 5-step sequential evaluation. So there is an eligibility process that goes along with this. It's not you get your application in and boom, because you have a disability, you're determined eligible. All the applications go through a sequential evaluation process. On the Title II side, the younger someone is, the sooner they could receive SSDI. For example, someone under age 24 only needs 6 credits or a year and a half of work earnings in a 3-year period ending when Social Security determines they have a disability to receive the SSDI off their own work record. So the 3 programs that are on the Title II side. The first one is, I just mentioned it, SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. And these are for the folks who are earning off of their own work record, over 18 and earning off of their own work record. The Childhood Disability Beneficiaries, also known as the Disabled Adult Children, CDB-DACs, they're over 18 and they're drawing off of a parent's work record. Our disabled widowers, they're age 50 to 65. But these are the 3 Title II disability benefit programs. So we have the Title 16 SSI side. Today we have the Title II programs with these 3 programs up there. So SSI is not involved on this side. Just the Title II side. These are the 3 disability programs that fall under Title II. In order to get a Title II benefit, again, you've got to earn a specific amount of money within a specific period and meet the requirements, the definition of having a disability. We'll talk about Social Security disability insurance today. There are certain relatives that may be able to receive a cash benefit from an individual's work record, and we'll talk about one of those, which is going to be our CDB-DACs. To see which other family members are eligible to receive a cash benefit, we've provided a link that you guys are more than welcome to utilize to find out which family member could possibly receive a cash benefit from a particular family member. So let's talk about substantial gainful activity. Substantial gainful activity is also known as SGA, It's any amount of money that SSA uses to measure the level of work activity that someone's doing or earnings they make each month. So for this year, the substantial gainful activity that Social Security has set for those who are not statutorily blind by their definition is $1,470 gross. And for those who are considered statutorily blind by Social Security's definition, that amount of substantial gainful activity is $2,460 gross. The SGA amounts typically change at the beginning of every year, January 1st of every year. So substantial gainful activity will change annually. Now, when does substantial gainful activity become a factor? It matters when someone's receiving Title II disability insurance and works. The most important rule in the Title II disability benefits, these programs, it's an all or nothing program. You either get a cash benefit or you don't. Okay, it's not like on the SSI side where the cash benefit can fluctuate depending on work activity. On the Title II side, so if you're getting SSDI, if you're a CDB DAC or a disabled widower DWIB, okay, you either get a cash benefit or you don't. So how does the cash benefit work on this side? With Title II and earnings, again, like I said, you either get a cash benefit or you don't. To determine if someone is eligible for any Title II cash benefits, you've got to know three things. You've got to know their monthly gross income, what Title II return to work stage an individual is in, and if they possibly have any work incentives or deductions that can be factored in. It's not moving. There we go. Title II disability insurance is an insurance program that comes with Medicare. SSDI can be awarded to those with a qualifying disability and work record who are over 18 if at the time of application, the individual is not earning SGA or above per month. Our Title II childhood disability beneficiaries, also known as the Disabled Adult Child, or CDB DACs, that program, Title II program, comes with Medicare. Our CDB DACs can be awarded for those whose disability occurred prior to age 22. And you'll see CDB DACs when one or both parents start to either draw their own SSDI, they retire, or they pass away. A CDB DAC will not be awarded to someone who has earned substantial gainful activity after age 22, even if that person only earned SGA in the month after turning 22. If a CDB DAC loses their SSI and Medicaid due to becoming a CDB DAC, they can retain their Medicaid and they can continue to receive Medicaid. In order to receive that Medicaid, they do have to fill out an application known as the H-1200, and that is under the HHSC agency. All you have to do is literally Google H-1200 HHSC, and you can find that form. Now, transition to CDB DAC and Medicare does not mean that you're going to lose a community-based waiver. We get this question a lot in relation to if someone is receiving a waiver and if they lose their Medicaid because they become a CDB DAC, they actually will not lose that Medicaid just becoming a CDB DAC. Now, there is one rule I'd like to mention for CDB DACs, and it's a very wackadoodle rule in the Social Security world, but it is in fact a Social Security rule. CDB DACs, they if they are in a relationship. And if that relationship matures into marriage, if they marry someone outside of receiving Title II benefits, they're going to lose their benefits. So the marriage rule under DAX is, again, it's a very wackadoodle rule, but it is a very strict rule. And the benefits, if a CDD DAC does marry someone who's either not receiving benefits or is receiving benefits outside of the Title II umbrella, they're not going to receive benefits. Their benefits will stop. Our disabled widowers beneficiary, or DWIBs, it's also an insurance program that comes with Medicare. Title II DWIBs, they can be awarded to those who are at least 50 and not yet 65, who have a disability and whose spouse passed away, or who are at the time of application not earning substantial gainful activity or above each month. The return to work process. So there's 5 main stages on the Title II side when it comes to the returning to work process. Each stage is designed to help an individual get off of their Title II cash benefit, and each stage has specific timelines, and it's measured by an amount of earned income. A Title II beneficiary can use each of these 5 stages once per period of their disability. This means that if an individual has up to 5 stages, even if it was a long time ago, that stage may not be available anymore. Each of the 5 stages has different rules within each stage about when an individual is eligible to receive a Title II monthly cash benefit. The first stage is known as the trial work period. The second stage is known as the extended period of eligibility. The third stage is the cessation and grace period. And then there's expedited reinstatement and initial reinstatement period. So let's talk a little bit about the first stage, the trial work period. The trial work period is a time for individuals to try working a maximum number of hours possible for the most money per hour possible and still get a monthly cash benefit. So in the trial work period, you can earn any amount you want and still receive a Title II cash benefit. Now, a completed trial work period is made up of 9 months that are used in a rolling 60-month period. So that means that a 60 rolling month period is not a consecutive thing. For some folks, it could be, but the trial work period for individuals can jump and move around throughout the years, depending on a person's work activity level. Each month that qualifies towards completion of a trial work month is known as the trial work month. So there's a different level amount. This year, the trial work period level amount to say that if you are in fact in your trial work period, if you're over 1,050 this year and you are in your trial work period, if you go over that amount, you're going to use a trial work month. Now, the trial work monthly trigger amount, that too changes every January 1st. So the trial work period level is a set level that Social Security determines that does change annually as well. So for this year, the trial work period level for those who are in their trial work period, that amount this year is 1,050. The second stage of work is known as the extended period of eligibility. The extended period of eligibility. The EPE begins the month that a trial work period has been completed and lasts for 36 months or 3 years. This stage of work is consecutive. Once that trial work period is over, the extended period of eligibility starts. And once the extended period of eligibility clock starts, it does go consecutive for 36 months or 3 years. Now, this is where the all or nothing that I mentioned at the beginning comes in. This is where you either get a cash benefit or you don't. This is where the SGA becomes a factor. So during the EPE, during these 36 consecutive months, if an individual is over SGA, they're not going to be eligible for a cash benefit. If an individual is below SGA, they will be eligible for a cash benefit. Okay, the third stage, known as the cessation and grace period month. Cessation and grace starts the first month earnings are at or above SGA after the trial work period. The cessation and grace period lasts for 3 consecutive months, and the individual is eligible to receive the monthly cash benefit during the cessation and grace period months. So these 3 months are tied together. It's cessation month, and then there's 2 months of grace. Those cessation and grace always goes together. The cessation and grace period can happen during the EPE. It can happen after the EPE, those 36 consecutive months has ended, or it can happen never at all if an individual has never earned SGA or above SGA after the end of a trial work period. Stage 4. Someone who is terminated, okay, from Title II monthly cash benefits, they can actually get back on, and they can get back on very quickly. If they were terminated due to earning above SGA, there is a process, very quick process known as expedited reinstatement. It's also called EXR. They can get back on very quickly. Let's say if they lose their job or they drop below SGA and their disability has not improved, they can use or they can request EXR. Now, the EXR must be filed no later than 60 months or 5 years from the date of termination of those Title II cash benefits. Now, a person is going to get, when somebody EXRs back on, they will get 6 Title II monthly cash benefits while SSA is redetermining the eligibility based on that previous period of disability. If that person's disability has not improved, those Title II monthly cash benefits are going to continue. Now, if Social Security determines that a disability has improved, the 6 months that they've received those cash benefits, they do not have to be paid back to Social Security. But after the 6 months, if it is determined that they have medically improved, they won't continue to receive benefits. The 5th stage. So once somebody has EXR'd back on successfully, meaning, disability didn't improve and they're eligible to continue receiving their benefits, they're going to be in the 5th stage and final stage of the Title II return to work stages. This is known as the initial reinstatement period, also known as the IRP. Now, during the IRP, any month in which an individual earns a monthly gross earnings at or above SGA, they're not eligible to receive a monthly cash benefit. If an individual earns SGA, they are eligible to receive a cash benefit. So if they're below SGA, eligible to receive a cash benefit. If they're above SGA, not eligible for a cash benefit. Now, what's going to happen in the IRP for some folks? The pattern's going to continue until an individual has received 24 months of cash benefits. These months don't have to be consecutive. At that point, once an individual has received the 24 months of a cash benefit, they're going to receive a new trial work period, a new extended period of eligibility new cessation and grace period, and also be eligible for another expedited reinstatement and initial reinstatement period if they need to. So it's really difficult to get completely off Title II if your disability has not improved. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Sarah Kendall. She's going to talk to you guys about the Title II work incentives.
Thank you, Nitra. And let me get control of the screen. I don't believe that Nitra told you who we were, so I'm going to tell you who we are. I'm Sarah Kendall, and I work with Nitra at Texas Workforce Commission Vocational Rehabilitation Division. Our local offices, which you may be familiar with, are Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services. And we are program specialists in the state office for Social Security benefits and work incentives. And we're both certified by Social Security as community partner work incentive counselors. So that's who we are, and that's why we're talking to you today. So you just heard about these 5 stages of work, and you might be thinking, yeah, but my child is young and they'll never get there. But if you remember, Nitra said at the beginning, the younger you are, the quicker you can get on to Social Security disability insurance off your own work record. And we do see young people all the time being transferred to Social Security disability insurance. We see even more people becoming childhood disability beneficiaries, also known as disabled adult children, when their parents retire or pass away, or themselves start receiving a benefit based on disability from Social Security. And we do see a lot of problems with the CDB DACs getting married outside of that Title II world. And the Title II world would be another person receiving SSDI, another CDB DAC, a disabled widower, or a retiree. That's really the entire universe that a CDB DAC can marry into and retain their benefits. And what we really want you to know about that marriage rule for CDB DACs is, even if you think my child's never going to get married, we see it happen all the time. And we see people being terminated from benefits and health insurance. So if your child might be on supplemental security income and Social Security disability insurance, or supplemental security income and CDB DAC, those are called concurrents, and we'll be talking about them next month in July in a webinar that we're doing for the Consolidated Planning Group. So if you want to tune into that one, you might be interested in hearing about that. But if your child is a CDB DAC and they marry outside of that Title II world, all their Social Security cash benefits, whatever they receive, and their Medicare and or their Medicaid, if they have SSI and Medicaid as well, will be terminated immediately. So it's very important to pay attention to that marriage rule. So you heard about these 5 stages of work, and that sounds really good, right? Because somebody has at least 4 years to stay attached to the Title II disability insurance system and try working. They have 9 months of a trial work period. They have potentially 3 months of cessation grace and 3 years of an extended period of eligibility. But once you get into that extended period of eligibility, as Nitra said, if you're earning at or above substantial gainful activity, 1,470 gross per month in earnings for those who are non-blind, or 2,460 gross per month for those who are statutorily blind by Social Security's definition, you're not eligible to receive the cash benefit. And then after that extended period of eligibility is ended, if you go over substantial gainful activity in earnings, you're terminated from your benefits, your cash benefits, even though your Medicare would continue for a long time through what's called the extended period of Medicare coverage. But you've lost those cash benefits. You could use expedited reinstatement to get back on. But if you go outside of that 5-year expedited reinstatement period, then, well, you may have to reapply for benefits all over again, rather than getting right back on through expedited reinstatement. So what do you do during that extended period of eligibility to keep your cash benefit? Well, there are two work incentives that folks can use. And these are very important to know because that 9-month trial work period goes by really fast if someone is earning a living wage or above substantial gainful activity. So these two work incentives are used to reduce, for Social Security's purpose, your gross earned income to below substantial gainful activity during and after the extended period of eligibility, so you don't lose the Title II cash benefit. And the two work incentives are the impairment-related work expense, or IRWE, and subsidy and special condition. Oh, sorry. Went too fast. Here we go. The impairment-related work expense is the first work incentive under Title II, and an impairment-related work expense is an item or service that's related to the disability that's paid for out of the individual's pocket and is necessary for them to maintain employment. If you are working and you think you have an impairment-related work expense, you have to apply and request it and have it approved by Social Security before you can use that deduction. And again, you would use the impairment-related work expense after you have completed a trial work period, when your gross earnings are going to be above substantial gainful activity, that $1,470 or $2,460 in 2023 per month in gross earnings. So you wouldn't need an impairment-related work expense if you're earning under substantial gainful activity. But if you are earning above it and would not be eligible for the cash benefit during the extended period of eligibility, then you should definitely look at the IRWE. So the amount that you spend out of pocket for this impairment-related work expense will be deducted from your total gross income by Social Security to determine if you are able to retain your cash benefit or not. And here's an example of the impairment-related work expense. So Melanie gets $1,000 in SSDI, and she earns $1,500 per month. And that is above substantial gainful activity because she's not statutorily blind by Social Security's definition. So she's $30 above substantial gainful activity, which is $1,470 gross per month in 2023 in earnings. And she's completed her trial work period. Without using a work incentive or this deduction, she would trigger that 3-month cessation and grace period, and then her Title II cash benefit would stop. She wouldn't be eligible to receive one. And here's an unfortunate fact. Even when you're reporting your income to Social Security, which you should do even if you're on Title II every single month, oftentimes that doesn't get recorded. And so Social Security will keep sending you the cash benefit even though you're not eligible to receive it. And when that happens, eventually you get an overpayment letter. And on the Title II side, those overpayments can be pretty hefty. So $1,000 in Social Security disability insurance, and let's say Social Security, let's say Melanie completes her trial work period and doesn't know about the impairment-related work expense. So she just keeps on earning $1,500 a month and getting her $1,000 in SSDI. And she's reporting her income, but it's not being recorded. So every month that she receives that $1,000 in SSDI and cashes that cash benefit, that's going to result in an overpayment eventually. And overpayments can take a few months to many, many years, up to a decade for Social Security to catch up with. We have seen overpayments in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. For Title II, most of them are in the tens of thousands of dollar range. But you don't want to get caught in that. So if your child is on Title II, you really have to track their earnings and track which stages of work they've gone through. So if you get the cash benefit and you know that your child is not entitled to that cash benefit, you put it aside so that when Social Security contacts you, you have it to pay them back. But at any rate, Mary does have some impairment-related work expenses. She spends $350 a month for paratransit to and from work. That's the transportation system that you call and schedule a ride. They pick you up at your door and they drop you off at your destination. So that costs her $350 a month. And she also has an iPhone that's in that $350 a month. And she uses that iPhone to communicate with both her employer and other coworkers. So both of these things are impairment-related work expenses. And quite frankly, almost anything that someone with a disability uses, not all anything, but a lot can be impairment-related work expenses. So what Social Security is going to do is deduct the $350 in her iPhone and her paratransit expenses from that $1,500 gross earnings. So that results in countable gross earned income for the month for Melanie of $1,150. And that amount is under substantial gainful activity of $1,470 this year. So she will still receive her Title II monthly cash benefit. And one of the reasons impairment-related work expenses are so impactful in terms of work incentives is because these are expenses that Melanie would have whether she received a Title II benefit or not. The only way Melanie can get to work is by using paratransit, and she has to have an iPhone to communicate with her employer and other coworkers due to her disability. So she would have to be using those things anyway, whether she had a Title II benefit or not. But using the impairment-related work expense allows her to continue to get that cash benefit of $1,000 a month. Okay. So I see there's a question. I'm confused. $100 is under $1,470. Why would she be in an overpayment situation? I'm not sure. She receives, oh, I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, Terry. So the deduction is based on your gross earnings per month. And Melanie is earning $1,500 per month. That's over the $1,470 in SGA. So if Melanie did not use an impairment-related work expense, she would not be eligible for her $1,000 in SSDI. So there are two separate amounts. There's $1,000 in Social Security disability insurance, and there's earnings of $1,500 gross per month. Okay. The other work incentive is the subsidy and special condition. And these are actually two separate work incentives, but they're lumped together by Social Security as subsidy / special condition. A subsidy exists when a person with a disability doesn't do all the tasks that are normally associated with that particular job. They may take extra time to do the tasks. And the employer typically provides natural supports to them. They either have a coworker or supervisor give them that extra help, or the job might be carved out or restructured for them so that they don't have to do all the tasks. But the employer is paying that person the same wage that they would pay someone who is doing 100% of the tasks without any extra supervision. And that's called a subsidy. A special condition exists when the individual receives assistance on the job. Typically, it's from a job coach that's paid from another source, such as the home community-based waivers, like if your child is on HCS or Texas Home Living, CLASS, DBMD, YES, STAR Plus, or STAR Kids. They have job coaches available to them for their life on the job if they need those. And my agency, and the agency that Nitra and I work for, Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services, also pays for job coaches when the person has an open case with us or we're providing services to them. So the special condition is the only work incentive in Social Security that is paid for by someone else, not paid for by the actual individual receiving the disability benefit. It's paid for by somebody else. And so that's subsidy and special condition. And what Social Security does is there's a formula that we use, And we sit down with the employers and we figure out what percentage of time they need extra help, or what tasks they don't do. Or if it's a special condition, we take the hours that they receive the job coaching times the hourly wage. And we'll look at an example of that. And that will lower that, either that percentage or the amount of job coaching that they get will again lower their gross earned income for Social Security purposes to below substantial gainful activity. So here's an example of a subsidy. Paul is a CDB DAC and he receives $1,800. That's his Social Security benefit. He earns $1,600 a month working part-time at an art gallery and framing shop. And so $1,600 a month is above substantial gainful activity of $1,470 for those who are non-blind. So he's earning over SGA, and he's completed his trial work period. Without any other deductions, he's going to trigger that 3-month cessation grace period where, even though you're not technically eligible for the cash benefit, Social Security is going to give you one anyway for 3 months. And then if Paul continues to earn the $1,600 a month, he's going to be not entitled to a monthly cash benefit and eventually would be terminated from benefits, right? But Paul needs additional time to learn new tasks, because a supervisor first has to physically demonstrate the steps of the job, and then he texts those steps to Paul so Paul can follow them after he's watched the supervisor do them. And that would be a subsidy. Paul's employer estimates that Paul's productivity level is about 25% less than employees doing the same type of work that Paul is doing. That translates into $400 of additional unpaid help from the employer. And that $400 reduces that $1,600 gross earned income that Paul makes to $1,200 a month and puts him below SGA, and that makes him still eligible for his monthly cash benefit. And here's an example of the special condition. We're with Paul again. He's still a CDB DAC. He's still earning $1,600, and he's getting a cash benefit of $1,800. But this time, Paul receives services through the HCS Home and Community-Based Service Waiver, and HCS provides a job coach to Paul for 10 hours a week who does the demonstration of the tasks and cues him so that he can complete those duties. Paul earns $9.50 an hour. So what we do is we multiply the 10 hours of job coaching he gets times his salary of $9.50 an hour. And then we multiply that times 4.333, because that's the formula Social Security uses to estimate gross earned income. And we get $411 in a special condition. So we take 10 times 950 times 4.33, and that equals $411. When we take that $411 away from his $1,600 gross earnings, his countable income for Social Security's purposes is $1,189 a month. And that's lower than SGA of $1,470 in 2023, not 147, sorry, it should say 1,470. And so his CDB DAC cash benefit does continue. So that's the benefit of using these work incentives when your child receives a Title II benefit based on their disability. And as we mentioned, Title II comes with Medicare. And Medicare doesn't happen immediately. There's a 24-month waiting period from the date the first cash benefit is due to the time you receive Medicare. Now, many people who are awarded Title II will have already passed some or all of that 24-month waiting period. But just so you know, there is that 24-month waiting period. So if your child gets, for instance, CDB DAC today, and they applied 2 months ago, they're going to have a 24-month waiting period until they get the health insurance. The other thing about Medicare is that it's not free like Medicaid is. And Medicare doesn't cover certain items and services that Medicaid would cover. Now, if someone cannot afford the costs of their Medicare, they may be able to get help paying for some or all of their Medicare costs through a program called the Medicare Savings Program that's run by the Health and Human Services Commission. And you can find out more about Medicare Savings Program by going to Health and Human Services Commission's website. You just type in Medicare Savings Programs and it'll come up, or by contacting your local area agency on aging's Health Information Counseling and Advocacy Program, or HICAP. Medicare is a fully federally funded program, so there really isn't a state agency that you can go to ask questions about Medicare. So the Health and Human Services Commission is the Medicaid agency for the state of Texas. And they are involved in Medicare through the Medicare savings programs, but they don't administer or run Medicare. It is run by Social Security and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. So the best place to find out about Medicare is the HICAP programs, those Health Information Counseling and Advocacy programs in your area agency on aging. The HICAP program is a national program. Nationally, it's called the State Health Insurance Program, or SHIP, but states have their own moniker for it. And in Texas, we call it HICAP. And these folks it's a joint effort by the Department of Insurance and by the Health and Human Services Commission to get information about Medicare to folks on the ground in the states. And the people who work for the HICAP program, at least one of them is an employee of HHSC, and the rest of them are volunteers who are trained. They go through pretty extensive training in all things Medicare. So it's about Medicare health insurance. The HICAP program can't answer questions about how working will affect your Medicare, but they can answer questions about what does Medicare cover, how much will it cost. They can represent someone in an appeal if they've been denied a service through Medicare, and they can help with the Medicare savings programs and anything else that's Medicare related. They're a terrific resource for us in Texas in terms of Medicare. So, in a nutshell, Title II works in stages. There are lots of safety nets, and there are a number of years, at least 4 years, that you can try work and still be attached to the system. You may be able to be attached to the system a lot longer than that if you're earning under substantial gainful activity, or if you're using a work incentive like an impairment-related work expense or subsidy and special condition to stay on the Title II cash benefit in current payment status. But even if you don't, as Nitra said, it's very difficult to actually be off Title II completely and have to reapply from the beginning because of expedited reinstatement and the initial reinstatement period. There are many provisions for getting back onto the system very quickly, even if you're terminated. And Medicare continues, if you get as long as you get a cash benefit, your Medicare is going to continue. And it continues even after the cash benefit is terminated due to earned income for many years. Your Medicare will continue for at least 93 months or 7 3/4 years after the end of the trial work period. Now, again, that's only if you get out of that extended period of eligibility and you're terminated. That's when you have to worry about how long is my Medicare going to last. As long as you're getting a cash benefit, your Medicare will continue and you don't have to worry about the extended period of Medicare coverage, okay? But we do want you to know that people on Title II, whether they're young, middle-aged, or older, can work. They can work, they can stay on this benefit if they want, they can work themselves off. And if something happens to that job and they lose the job or they drop below earnings, gross earnings every month of substantial gainful activity, they can use expedited reinstatement to get back on very quickly. So there's no reason to be frightened about going to work. If you receive a Title II cash benefit based on disability, like Social Security disability insurance, the childhood disability beneficiary, also known as disabled adult child, or disabled widow or widower benefit, you absolutely can go to work. Social Security wants you to go to work. They've built a system that allows you to try working for a long time to determine, do I want to let this benefit go and just work, live my life, or do I need to stay on Title II? You absolutely have that choice. And if your child or you are interested in employment, please consider coming to our agency, which is Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services. We help people with disabilities find competitive integrated employment through time-limited services. We are not a lifetime agency like the home and community-based waivers are, but we do work with somebody, and there's no specific time limit for our services. We can work with you for a year, but we might work with you for 10 years before you reach competitive integrated employment. We have lots of resources, and our services include a variety of benefits, including benefits planning. When you're a customer of ours, you will get formal benefits counseling through folks who are certified, just like Nitra and I are, by Social Security. They'll do a comprehensive benefits summary and analysis and work incentive plan so that you and your child will know every single thing that's going to happen to them once they go to work. And if your goals change, or your pay rate changes, or your hours change, something about the job changes, and you're still with us, we will send you for a revised benefit summary and analysis work incentive plan. But after we close the case, the individual that we referred you to for that benefits counseling is available to you for free services for your life. We also can pay for college. We can pay for vocational and occupational skills training. And when we say we can pay for college, that means the tuition and the room and board if it's necessary for your child to live on campus. We do career planning assessment. We have job developers. We have job coaches. And we have many, many more services than this. Almost anything that someone needs to achieve their goal of competitive integrated employment is something the Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services could provide. We also offer something called pre-employment transition services, or pre-ETS, to individuals who are aged 14 to 22. You do not need to be a customer of ours to receive pre-ETS services. You just need to be attending school and be age 14 to 22. This is a specific set of services, 6 services that help people prepare for employment in the community. And if you've never been in touch with Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehab Services, you can find us in a number of different ways. You can go to this link, VR office lookup, and put in your zip code and find your office. You can use Start My VR, which is a very quick online system. It's a way to apply for services with Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services online. You can call this number, 512-936-6400, and a human being will answer and tell you, here's the office, here's your office, and here's the phone number, and this is what you need to say when you call. Or you can just send an email to the VR office locator. Or if all of that fails, you can get in touch with Nitra or myself, because we are absolutely available to help you at any time. And if you have questions about your child's specific disability benefit, whether they're on supplemental security income, Title 16, or one of these Title II programs that we talked about today, SSDI, the CDBDAC, or the disabled widower, please feel free to contact us. We are state employees, so we are public servants, and you do pay our salary, and we appreciate it because we do like our jobs. Even though we do Social Security, we still like our jobs. And we are more than happy to help you in any way we can with questions about benefits or with questions about our services at Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services. And again, remember that the really sticky webinar comes next month, and that's on concurrence. Those are people who receive both supplemental security income and one or even more than one of these Title II benefits that we talked about. And we'll be talking about concurrence, as I said, in July. And if your child is planning to go to work and they're on SSI, I would listen to the concurrent one as well, because that is, concurrents are pretty much the first thing that happens when somebody gets transferred to a Title II, is they usually continue to receive some supplemental security income while they're getting that Title II, before they entirely transition to just one of these Title II benefits. So please feel free to contact us.
Sarah, we have that scheduled for July the 12th for anybody wanting to mark their calendars. I looked it up. It is July the 12th, and it will go from 12 to 1, and it will be recorded. So even if you can't make it, if you register for it, you will get a link to the slides and the recording following that. Guys, as always, you know, we're running out of time for today. We always have the things that we suggest that you keep on your special needs planning radar. We have, and I put this in the chat box earlier, I think I'll put it in there again really quick. We do have a YouTube channel that has all of these webinars, the past webinars that we have done live out there. There's over 200 webinars on special needs topics and planning for special needs. And so you can kind of peruse those topics for the stuff that you're on in the planning process and kind of the things that you're thinking about. It could be waivers, it could be it could be, you know, first party and third party special needs trust, guardianship, all those different types of things out there. So just check out that YouTube channel. And then also, when you guys get a copy of today's slides, this is going to be a link right here for our upcoming webinars. That July 12th webinar should be on there as well, and you'll be able to register for that. If it's not on this one, then you'll get an email and be able to register for the July 12th webinar. We work on a collaborative team here at Consolidated Planning Group. We're nationally certified as Social Security advisors, members of the Special Needs Planning Academy. I always say we can help you with your stump to chump questions, those complicated situations you might find yourself, especially if you're a concurrent enrollee. But we can definitely help you. I always just like to have some pictures and faces with the names of our team. We always meet. We always offer a free personalized consultation, talk to you a little bit further about the planning that you've done so far, answer any questions that may have come up from a webinar that maybe you have attended, and you can hover over this QR code and it'll take you to a calendar where you can schedule a free consultation with us at a time that is convenient for you. It has certainly been my pleasure partnering with you guys again today, and we will look forward to our meeting next month on July the 12th. So thanks everyone, and we hope you have a great afternoon. Take care.